President Trump promised that there would be no stupid wars, but that promise has been upended by his tariff wars, which have plunged our markets into chaos and triggered talks of a recession. Today, the Trump administration's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports kicked in and were immediately followed by reciprocal tariffs from the European Union on $28 billion worth of U.S. goods. Canada, I'll remind you, another American ally, announced that it too would impose 25% tariffs on about $21 billion worth of U.S. goods. Both the EU and Canada are targeting tariffs in red states and will cost American companies billions of dollars. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Trump's impulsive moves rattled his own allies, triggering a flood of calls from business executives, concerns from Republican lawmakers, and tension in the White House. However, his advisors say he is more determined than ever to carry out his far-reaching tariff agenda. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick echoed that sentiment.
Will these policies be worth it if they lead to a recession, even a short-term recession?
These policies are the most important thing America has ever had.
So it is worth it.
It is worth it. It is not chaotic. And the only one who thinks it's chaotic is someone who's being silly.
Joining me now is my colleague Stephanie Ruhle, NBC News senior business analyst and host of the 11th Hour here on MSNBC. What is he doing?
Well, I guess I'm the silly girl. Listen, he's talking Trump's book, which he needs to do right now as Donald Trump's commerce secretary. But the last time we imposed tariffs like this and engaged in a tariff war, it was 100 years ago, and it didn't just lead to a recession. It led to a depression. And I just want to say this about the tariffs. The spirit of them, I get. Over the last few decades, we have lost millions of manufacturing jobs in this country. As globalization took place, we saw manufacturing take place on the other side of the world, right? China's economy grew. It lifted people there out of poverty. And we started to get cheap stuff here, and we like that. And companies were focused just on profitability. And your company could make more money if you manufactured your parts overseas. I get all of that. Yep. But the idea to impose these tariffs across the board, especially to our allies, to our brothers and sisters in Mexico and in Canada, all that's going to do is hurt all of us, and it's not going to bring the jobs back. And I think that's what's so dangerous and disingenuous, because there are so many people that live in the Rust Belt, that live in parts of this country who are saying, I don't trust government, I don't trust media, because the income inequality is so out of control in this country. No one's doing anything for me. Who's going to do something for me? And the president is saying, I am. I'm going to kick these guys from other countries out. And we're going to make stuff here. Here's the problem. You tell me the name of one business leader in the last 3 weeks since these tariffs have been imposed who stood up and said, we're going to start making all the iPhones here. We're going to make all the T-shirts here. The Nike sneakers that you're wearing, we're going to make them in Tuscaloosa. No one is saying that. So the fact that we don't have the back end of this, all these tariffs are going to do is lift prices on everything and have companies just strangled. They're not doing anything because they don't know whether to look right or look left. Yesterday was the Business Roundtable meeting, right? The idea of the Business Roundtable is for business leaders and government leaders to get together, talk about what are our issues and how do we help the economy? How do we help businesses rise and grow in this country? You know what all those business leaders said to the president? Nothing. No one asked him a real question. No one asked him a probing question. No one said anything. I was in D.C. yesterday, and there was a private business conference in the morning. Lots of debate, lots of ideas being exchanged. But as soon as Donald Trump was in the room at the BRT, no one said anything, which shows they know you push back on anything with him, he will come for you and he will seek revenge. And that's a very challenging way for you to run a business, knowing that you've got a government that operates that way.
Well, they may not be able to say it in public, but as you know, in private, they are phone banking the White House and complaining about all of this. And this headline from the New York Times caught my attention. Investors thought they had Trump figured out. They were wrong.
They thought, listen, lots of people collectively thought that the president's guardrail was going to be capital markets, was going to be the market, was going to be the Palm Beach set that he rolls with. Well, it turns out that is not the case. The fact that you now have the president, his cabinet, and Republicans going on television saying, you know what, a recession might not be a bad idea. If the market goes down, it's a buying opportunity. That's simply not true, and they all know it. And the fact that they're trying to sell that to us, that's crazy town.